In this video, I'm going to go through 4 different ways of measuring distance, going from an old school method like this, all the way up to a new method, which just so happens to be free and is much better to use than this. But let's get started with this old guy. I had to knock it out of the garage and it still has cobwebs on it, which shows you the last time that I used it. But we're going to measure from where I am right now to that building back there. And we're going to use all 4 methods, starting with this guy, and we'll just zero it out. And then let's go ahead and measure it. So the old measuring wheel came in at 368 feet. So the next one we're going to try is a laser measurer, and I highly recommend one of these for anyone in real estate. I use one all the time, although they're not overly useful outdoors unless you get one that's specifically rated for outdoor use. I have one and it's very expensive. And actually I very seldom use it. I have a smaller one that I use for indoor purposes, but this one for outdoor is actually pretty good. So I couldn't get the measurement by hand, so we actually put it down on a table here and we just took a measurement of it. You can see this one actually has a camera view as well, so you can see what you're pointing at. And this one came in at 365 feet and 8 inches. And one other thing that you can have is one of these target things, which helps it zoom in a little bit better and create a better spot. That is one of the limitations of laser measurers though, is that you actually need to bounce it off something. So if you're just doing a wide open field and trying to get a measurement, it's not a great tool unless you have somebody at the other side holding a clipboard or something like that. But I still recommend a laser measurer. It's just not the best use yet. But we're going to move on to another one, and that's actually a rangefinder. And the thing that I like about a rangefinder is that you can use it for other purposes than measuring distance. For real estate, you can also use it for golf, you can use it for hunting. This is kind of a multi-purpose one, and I'll put down in the comments or in the description which ones I'm using, just if you want to check them out. But this one's pretty simple. We're going to put it right up. This one's got a pretty good spot on it as well. And when we read on the same area, this one's coming in at 122.8 yards. So you can switch that to feet as well, but it's basically times 3. So if we come in here, we'll go into a calculator real quick, and 122.8 yards times 3 is 368.4. Another part that I like about the rangefinder is that this one in particular can go 2,000 yards, so it can go 6,000 feet, where the laser measurer maxes out at 660 feet. So if you're measuring long distances, rangefinder is much better. You could use the old wheel as well if you had to, but having this tool is actually helpful when doing large measurements. The next one that I probably use the most though right now is the measure distance tool on Google Maps. So if you just search the location of what you want to measure, go down into the layers button and turn it on to the aerial view. And once you have that done, move your cursor to where you want to start, right click and scroll down to the measure distance function. And then all you have to do is move over to where you want the distance to be measured to. So I'm going to use Google Maps using our current location, measuring exact same one, and then we'll see how all 4 of these compare. Now they all have pros and cons as well. The Google tool is free, and that's one of the reasons that I really like it. But of course you need to have an internet connection to use it, and you can't use it for interior measurements. Same with the rangefinder. It'd be very difficult to use that, and it doesn't work well in close quarters. Whereas the laser measurer, that's probably where I get the most benefit, is I almost exclusively use a laser measure for interior measurements, whether I'm taking dimensions of a warehouse or a manufacturing property. And I think the rangefinder is a great tool for outdoors. Google is great if you have a computer and an internet connection or your phone. So they all have their own individual uses, and that's why I think using all of them are a great solution for it. And of course, I'd have to emphasize that none of these take the place of having a property professionally surveyed so that you actually have real accurate measurements. But I've found that if you're looking at a property, a company might just want to see how much space they have to store trailers or store materials. And it doesn't often need to be down to the fraction of an inch for those measurements for preliminary planning. So that's, I've generally found, as long as, if you're doing a long distance, as long as you're within a reasonable amount, that's good enough for preliminary planning, and then they can always go and rely on a survey later. But to just have those available to help somebody out make a quick decision, it can often mean the difference between getting a deal done and perhaps not even getting one started, just by having those measurements. So 4 tools that I happily, well, maybe not the wheel. I don't know if I recommend the wheel. That might be going back into the shed and collecting more cobwebs. But the laser measurer, rangefinder, and Google Maps, 3 awesome tools that I highly recommend. Let me know if you have any other ones that you use in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Okay, yeah, I think that